Come on in the room. Yes, sir. Come on in the room. We got this one going too. Yep. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in the room. They say God is a good God and he's worthy to be praised. Come on in the room. Yeah. Tell y'all what I was thinking about today. Matter of fact, it hasn't been today. It's just been for a little while. You see the family shirt, always about family. Um, but I was thinking about this. Back then, we had a lot of sayings when I was growing up. I'm an '80s baby, early '80s baby, and they had a saying for every single thing. So the saying that popped in my mind as I was pulling in the driveway, they used to always say, "Sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words will never hurt me." And growing up, they used that to like kind of encourage us to tell us like, don't be worried about what people got to say, right? And I wish that saying was true as an adult because sticks and stones, they hurt your bones, but words can be eternal if you let them. Words can really mess you up if you let them. Like words can be worse than sticks and stones because bones can recover, but it's hard to recover from these words that some people speak over your life. Like us in America, we don't really get this wordplay the way other countries get it. And just being a minister or just a royal priesthood, as I say, you get it. You get it even more the power of words. So sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words can be eternal. They can really stick to you. So, like if you was called, for example, if you're before you reach the age of 8, 9, your mental development isn't quite all there. So you're not able to grasp things like rhetorical statements and questions. You're not able to grasp, somebody just being, somebody joking and playing. That's why when you tell a kid no or a little baby no, they look at your face to see, is he being serious? Is he playing? They trying to see what your temperament is because sometimes words can be eternal. So like, okay, a 6-year-old, if a 6-year-old is called ugly, 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 when they grow up, they're gonna think they're ugly. They can be Beyonce beautiful, but because they was damaged before they was able to develop mentally, all they're gonna see is their imperfections. So sticks and stones, yeah, they hurt my bones, but words can stick to me. So like me growing up, I was picked on. So it took a lot for me to get over being picked on because before I was able to grasp that everybody was just joking and playing, those words had already begun to stick to me. Boy, you stupid. Your simple self. Parents used to use that like crazy back in the day. Get your simple behind somewhere and sit down, not knowing that those words were sticking to us left and right. So I'm gonna tell you something else. There's two things I was thinking. So when they say sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words will never hurt me. Words hurt a lot of people because those words have stuck with them through their whole life. This is something for you to think about. You don't always remember the good, but you can remember the people who picked on you. You can remember what they used to say when they picked on you. Remember those cousins that used to pick on you. You remember those aunties and uncles that you didn't like because they was always picking on you. But how many good memories can you really pull up compared to the bad memories that you can pull up as a youth? Meaning, let's say from the ages of 6 to 13, 14, because that's when peer pressure kicks in. That's a whole nother topic for us to try to handle. So when you talk about sticks and stones and words, wordplay is incredible. In America, we don't understand how deep words are. And I'm sure some of us have heard this before, but words cast spells because at the end of the day, we call them letters, but each letter is actually a symbol. So each symbol, demonstrates or relates to something. And each word, there's no such thing. I want y'all to get past this. Words do not have double meanings. We tend to think that they have, it has two meanings. No, they don't. No, they don't. If they had two meanings, they would be spelled two different ways. Like there, and there is spelled three different ways. But when you talk about sense and things of that nature, words are exactly what they're meant to be. Don't let the world fool you, because if you call somebody stupid, they're going to stick with that, and it's going to be stuck in their ears because that's just how life works. That's a spell. When you call somebody simple, that's a spell. That's something that you're speaking over their life. And if they're not mentally developed, it's going to stick with them. So when they make a mistake, they're like, I'm just stupid. I'm just simple. And you can say this is not all that deep, but it really is that deep, because a lot of these kids are really stuck on what they was called and what was said to them when they was little. Their parents call them names. If your parent calls you a name, that's going to stick with you more than anybody else. And then if your friends, once you constantly hear this word repeated, boy, you stupid. It don't matter how old you are. If you constantly hear something repeated, that spell is constantly being cast over your life. But even worse is what we do to ourselves with the words that we use. That's just the way I am. That's how I've always been. Things have never changed. That's how it always is, Juice.
That's right.
So that's how it always is. Out of the mouth you speak, so it shall be, because the words don't come out void. They're going to go accomplish what you have put out.
Again, brother.
I'm telling you. So what you say about yourself, okay, for instance, me and my sons were shooting basketball, and my littlest man, he was shooting. He's like, oh, man, I'm about to miss. And of course he missed because he spoke it out of his mouth. And I was like, you missed because you said you was going to miss. I never play basketball with intentions of missing. So I'll never say I'm about to miss a shot before I shoot it. So that's what happens a lot of times, is we're saying we're going to miss this shot before we even shot the shot.
That's right.
You're saying that you don't deserve this when somebody else may think you're very deserving of something. We cast spells over our life by what we constantly speak. That's how it's always been. If it ain't one thing, it's another. So as a man speaks, so shall it be. If it's always one thing after another, that's what you prepared for. That's what you've spoken over your life. That's the spell that you've cast over your life. That's what you have spoken into your life. So that's what it will always be. It will always be one thing after another. It will always be, that's the way it is, because that's what you have spoken out of your mouth. So we have to be very careful about the things that we speak, because the more we speak it, the more it's going to come to be. The second thing is, this is something that's near and dear. Stop letting doctors prescribe your kids being ADD. Some of these kids are geniuses, highly intelligent, and they get in class and they're bored to death, so they act out. I know this to be true because it happened to me. I was in class and they thought I was acting out, so they put me in the advanced class, and the advanced class bored me after a while. So don't let a doctor sit in a room with your child for 30 minutes and then all of a sudden tell you that your child has attention deficit disorder when really they're not feeding your child on the level that they need to be fed. When really your child may be a very genius child, but they're just not giving your child what they need to progress. So you have different gifts: music, art, math, science, history. And what can be happening is they're not focusing enough on your child's gift, because school doesn't focus on the gifts that children have. You may be an astounding artist, but the kids aren't, they're not going to focus in on that. You may be a mathematician, you may be a child prodigy, but if your child is going to a public school, they will never tell you this. They won't key in on this. They won't enhance the gift that's in your child. So what will happen will be your child may be sitting in science thinking about math, writing down math problems, or he may be drawing pictures because your child is a gifted artist, and the teacher doesn't recognize that, because all the teacher sees is dysfunction, and they see the fact that he's not excelling and doing what they want him to do, when in fact he's enhancing his gift. He's in there doodling, he's drawing pictures. So that may mean your child may not need math, science, and all these things, but they need an art teacher. They need to be somebody who's going to key in on their gift and who's going to not call them distracted, but call them gifted. Again, going back to the words having meaning and casting spells. Because I talk to a lot, I cut hair, so I talk to a lot of kids, a whole lot. And these kids be highly intelligent, highly aware of what's going on, very conscious kids. And according to society or to a public school, they're a problem child. They're always acting out. They can't seem to stay on task. That's because they're not being fed what they need to eat. These kids come out intelligent these days. They come out highly capable. Some of these kids come out gifted and already knowing what they want to do in life, but they have to go through this programming of 13 years. So by the time they get to, about to graduate out of high school, they no longer know their purpose. They no longer know what they want to do in life, because these 13 years have just taught them pretty much things that society wants them to know, but it's not good for them to know, because you don't need to know everything. One kid doesn't need to know math, science. If he's an artist, let that kid draw. Get him a drawing, a drawing pad, and let him draw away. If he's a mathematician, go get him the things that he needs to become the proper mathematician that he needs to be. If your kid is always putting things together, trying to see what they do, you have a scientist in your hands, and what you need to do is enhance that. It doesn't matter what school says they are or what they aren't. It's what you see in your child, and you are able to enhance what's in your child. Can I tell you, we're coming to a days where diplomas and all these other certificates don't really matter. I can tell you what the Bible says. The Bible says your gift will make room for you. Yes, they need to know how to spell. Absolutely. But what they need to know more is that their gift will make room for them, and that you need to enhance their gift so they can be the proper prodigy that they need to be. Because I see so many gifted Black kids who are thrown to the side because they can't do math, but they might know science like the back of their hand. I see some kids who thrown to the side because they may not know how to spell, but if you put some numbers in front of them, they can work those numbers out to a T. So we need to learn to enhance on our gifts, our kids' gift, and stop letting school write them off as having attention deficit disorder when these kids are really gifted. I'm seeing these kids die at young ages. It reminds me of the Bible when they put out the order trying to kill Jesus, to kill all these every firstborn, male. And that's what's happening right now. Is we're watching our young prodigies, our young prophets, our young mathematicians, our young artists being killed right before us because they're being wrote off. He has attention deficit disorder. He's ADHD. He's not mentally able to do this, but in fact, he's operating on a different plateau from every kid in his class. Can I tell you that every musician needs to learn how to read music, but he doesn't need to learn how to read math. If he can tap them keys naturally, put that kid in a piano class. If your child can sing, yes, let them go through the 13 years, but never let them forget the gift that's in them. So many kids don't know that they are gifted. So by the time they graduate school, it's like, what you want to do with your life? I'm going to go to college and I'm going to do this, or I'm going to join the military, or I'm going to do this, that, and the third. And then when they're about our age, 30 to 40 years old, they have resentment. They're dealing with depression because they have a gift in them that was never enhanced. They never reached their fullest potential because they was programmed to think and do a certain way. And if they didn't think and do this certain way, They was considered to be slow. They was considered to be not able to keep up with their class, all these other things. But I'm telling you, your kids are very gifted, but the gifts are never enhanced because we got kind of lazy with our parenting. So therefore, we just let the school do what they do, and when they come home, as long as they out the way, we good. But our kids are gifted, especially our black young kids. I don't care if they're an athlete. Enhance that gift. Make them go outside and dribble that ball. They're a musician. Put a piano. You can get a piano from what's it called? A secondhand store or whatever. Put that piano in front of them and let them work out their life in front of them. Because I'm telling you, if you enhance their gift, you will enhance their intelligence overall, because now they're not lost thinking, I don't have any gifts. I see so-and-so playing basketball, but I don't know what my gift is. When the whole time your kids may be listening to rap or whatever, and they hear pitches, they hear tones, they hear every single instrument in the background. They're able to hit those high notes with those people. And we telling them, shut up, stop all that noise when they're working on their gift. Stop beating on the table when they're working on. Put a drum set in front of them then. If you can't afford to put a drum set on them, get them some buckets and a stick, but never stop letting them. We have to stop cutting off their gift the way that we do because we don't feel like hearing it. As a parent, your time is over with. Your time is now to provide and cultivate your child so they don't make the same mistakes that we make, so they can advance in life further than we make it. This is something I told my mom. My granddad and my grandma left them land. They put a house on it. So when they leave it to me, it's my job to further cultivate that and make it of more value. And it's the same thing goes with our kids. Once I have a kid, okay, my time is up. It is time for me to cultivate my child and add value to my child the way I wasn't added value to. So again, if they always doodling, get them the best pencils you can, get them the best coloring pencils you can, get them the best drawing pads you can, and let them doodle away. As long as they're getting done the things that need to be done, the necessities in life, after they get done with the necessities, man, you go draw away. If you want to beat on the walls, go beat on the walls. Make your music. If you want to sing, go in your room and sing until your heart desires. If you want to shoot ball, go outside and shoot ball all night long. But we have to stop letting their gifts fall to the side. The next thing you know, they're stuck in front of a banking job, or they're stuck at some desk when they're a builder. Could you imagine Bam Bam? You know, I'm a Flintstones person. Could you imagine Bam Bam in a suit working in an office? He's gonna be in there banging stuff up. And that's how a lot of our kids are. That's how a lot of these kids are, is that they want to do other things other than the norm, other than what you see as profitable. So when they say they want to be a construction worker, and they're saying this at the age of 6, they're saying this at the age of 7, they're saying this at the age of 8, it's time for you to get them some building blocks. It's time for you to get them some cement. It's time for you to get them pieces of wood. Lowe's gives away their chopped wood. It's time for you to get them that, get them a nails, and see what you can do, baby. Have fun. As long as you're not hurting yourself, cultivate your gift. So I'm telling you, we have to stop speaking these spells around our kids, tearing them down because they're about to fulfill something that we couldn't fulfill in ourselves, and we don't want to see that. It's self-sabotage within the family that we often do. It's not purposely done, but sometimes we sabotage our kids out of jealousy, out of envy, and we try to apply our will onto our kids. You should do things this way, or you should do things that way. No, it's a new day. Let them kids do it the way they see in their minds to do things. And then you cultivate that. So you may have to watch some YouTube videos to help cultivate your kids. You may need to look up some stuff to help cultivate your kids. But don't let your kids be stuck in a certain program life because you don't see the future in it. Because God has given them a gift that they want to build, and you cultivate that thing. By the time they're 20, they're building skyscrapers simpler, faster, and easier than anybody else. They're writing music backwards, forwards, all types of ways. They're starting from the middle and expanding the music out. They're doing math like Einstein, but they're doing the math backwards because they know it from front to back, side to side, because their gift was cultivated. They're doing science. They're putting this and that together. And even though science says you can't put it together, they've been doing this since 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old. So they know the right ingredient to put it together. Even though science says they can't, they already know what to do. So if you start cultivating your kids' gift at a young age, just imagine when they get to be your age, the talent that they'll have, the experience that they'll have. Because if you put an hour a day in a kid from the age of 6 to 18, you got 365 hours times 18. You have a doctor. You have an expert at something by the time they're 18, because you put that time in and you cultivated their gift, and now they're not falling to the wayside, and they're not dependent upon a system because they already know what they're doing by the time they're 18 years old. This is what they used to do. This is why musicians like Beethoven and Bach was considered masterminds at such a young age, because their parents seen the talent in them, and they was like, okay, you may miss some school, but I'm gonna cultivate this talent in you, so school won't even matter. That's right. It should. I'm telling you, this thing runs deep. Don't let your don't forsake trades. Don't forsake talent. Cultivation is key, because cultivation becomes expertise. And you may not have a doctor's degree, but Dr. Savy thought on a doctor's level. Cultivation is key. Don't you know the person who built DC did it by memory? Wow. If you can look this up, he didn't have all this education behind him. He just had know-how. I know how to do this. I know how to put these things together. I know how this road should be like this. I know if I put this beam like this. I know if I hit this key with this. I know if I put this formula with this formula. It's just know-how. And school don't teach you know-how. It programs you to learn what they want you to learn. And we all know that programming is a false programming, because they're still teaching us that Christopher Columbus discovered America. So you can't allow somebody to teach your kids something who's being taught something. Let your kids be self-taught, and then you cultivate the talent within them, and you will have a young prodigy that's able to take care of himself, work for himself, provide for himself, and no man will be able to tell him which direction to go. I'm just trying to help y'all out right now, because this is very important, because right now colleges have learned that every kid doesn't want to go to college. So you have now what they have, boot camps for college. Look it up. 6 to 8 week courses, because they know that school is going out of style. Owing somebody 30 to 100 to possibly $1 million for teaching me something that if my parents would have took time out and cultivated, I could have learned myself. I'm telling you, cultivation is key in this dispensation in time. Cultivation is key. You might have a farmer on your hands. You might have a mathematician. You might have a musician. But until you cultivate it and you speak life, you have to speak life into them constantly. They may get on your nerves, but speak life anyway. You may hate the noises that they're making, but speak life anyway. You may hate the way they do things, but speak life. Always speak life. Continue to cultivate and speak life into them, and you will see a seed blossom into a beautiful rose, blossom into a flower garden. That's all I got, man. That's all I could keep going, but that cultivation, cultivate your kids so they don't just have talent, but the Bible says they have skilled talent. This is Picasso. I'm Renado Goatrepreneur Prince. Cultivate your kids. Don't let nobody else teach your kids what you should be teaching your kids. Cultivate them, grow them in the way they should go. And when they're old, they won't depart from it. Biblical principles. See, the Bible is not just the Bible, but it's spiritual principles, and spiritual principles are eternal. So that means the eternal rules never change. The biblical principles are spiritual principles, so they're eternal principles because the spirit never dies. So they will always be something that you can use to work. So cultivate your kids' talent so when they're old, they'll have skilled talent and they'll be able to provide for the people around them as well as themselves and as well as for you. When you're older, they'll be taking care of you, no problem. Man, y'all have a blessed one. Again, Renado Goatrepreneur Prince on every platform, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Y'all know what it is. Juice Nation, stand up. The best juice in the universe. A healer. Taking care of the inside so your outsides look good. So you can stay looking young and feeling young. It's all about nature, and he knows nature. He knows what nature has. He can pull the healing out of nature because the healing of the body is in the earth because we come from the earth. So make sure you always check out Juice Nation. Make sure you follow the tips because I'm telling you, these tips have helped me tremendously. They've helped him. He's a testimony of his own product. So look, we love you. Juice Nation. I represent Juice Nation. I'm a seed of Juice Nation. He pours into me, so we pour into each other. That way, the cup is never empty. It continues to fill each other. Y'all have a blessed one, though.
I got chills over here. Man, you went on one today.